Today I'm doing the Mama Bear book tag. Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl. Today I'm doing the Mama Bear book tag. This was an original tag from Tay at Tells and Treats with Tay. She tagged me in this, I feel like it was about a month ago. I knew I wanted to save it until right before Mother's Day because the tag gives you the option of doing this tag for your child or children or your mom. And I decided I would do it for my mom since that is who I celebrate on Mother's Day. Anybody who watches this knows that I've talked about my mom a lot and that she is my best friend, that she and I hang out a lot, have a lot of the same interests, we read a lot of the same books. Prompt number 1 is a book cover that is mostly her favorite color. So for this, I chose The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis because it is mostly blue. For most of my life, I know my mom's favorite color was blue. There was a little question in the back of my head of whether it still is or if it's green, but I think it's still blue. So I wanted to go with a blue cover, and I chose this book because this is one we read together for our old book club that we did with other people. And we both really, really love C.S. Lewis's books, and we've read quite a few of them together. And so it's kind of meaningful. This was also one of the C.S. Lewis books that I liked when I first read it, but when I went to that book club and we all discussed it, I ended up loving the book. And so I have a really strong memory with my mom in relation to this book. Number 2 is a book that was published the year they were born. I looked at a list of books that were published the year my mom was born, and there weren't any that I had a huge connection with my mom about. And so I just chose I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith because this was published the year my mom was born. And I thought with the last prompt being her favorite color, that this would tie it in with my favorite color of yellow and her favorite color of blue on it. And just in case it is green now, there's some green as well. This was a book that I did enjoy reading, but I didn't love it. But I also I didn't dislike it enough to get rid of it because there were some things I really liked in it and some things that were interesting to me. But at some point I'm going to have to revisit it and see how I feel about it with some time. Number 3 is a book set in her favorite season or around the time that she was born. And I think that as a season as a whole, my mom's favorite season is fall, and she is born in fall right before Halloween. So I wanted to pick something that kind of took place there, but I was having a hard time deciding on a book that took place there that also reminded me of her or something. And then I saw this book on my shelf, Last Christmas in Paris by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. And this was also a book that we read for book club. And since then, my mom and I both have read a lot of Hazel Gaynor books. And I know that she is one of my mom's very favorite authors now. And so I thought, instead of doing fall, I know my mom loves Christmas, and Christmas might be her favorite season if you think of it as the Christmas season rather than the 4 seasons of the year. And when I think of Christmas, I do think of my mom because my home was just full of so much joy and fun and traditions at Christmas time. And since we loved this book together, Last Christmas in Paris, then this one seemed like the right choice for that. Christmas Time in Paris. Thomas Harding travels to the City of Lights, a packet of cherished letters in hand. Letters that tell a story of love and loss, friendship and family, and the innocent hopes of a generation devastated by war. As he reads the letters one more time, Tom is transported back to 1914 and the sunlit August day when Evie Elliott waves goodbye to him and her brother Will as they head to the Western Front. All believe the war will be over by Christmas, when the trio plan to reunite and celebrate the holiday among the romantic cafes of Paris. But it is not to be. As months slip into years, Tom's and Evie's lives become bound together by the letters and telegrams, notes and stories that travel between them, from the front line in France to a quiet suburb of London. But as their friendship flourishes, there is far more than words held between the pages of Tom and Evie's letters. Now, decades later, Thomas finds himself once again in his beloved Paris, determined to fulfill a last promise and to lay to rest the ghosts of the past. But one final letter is waiting for him. Number 4 is a book that's title starts with a letter in her first name. And my mom's name is Marcia, so I chose Marilla of Green Gables by Sarah McCoy. I don't know if she's read this. I think I recommended it to her, but I don't remember if she's read it or not yet. This is kind of a retelling of the story of Marilla before Anne of Green Gables. And I usually don't like books like that, but I did really enjoy this because I felt like this one kept the spirit of Anne of Green Gables. I didn't feel like this went against anything that Lucy Maud Montgomery would have written herself, which is how I feel sometimes about things like this, that where people take other people's characters and write books. But I also wanted to choose this just because Anne of Green Gables is very important to not only me, but my mom as well. She introduced it to me by watching the miniseries when I was a kid and giving me my first book of Anne of Green Gables. My middle name is Anne with an E, and I've been to Prince Edward Island twice, and both times have been with my mom. The second time my dad was there as well. And we both really love Anne of Green Gables. Number 5 is a book character that reminds you of that person. So I chose Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I think most of you would know the story of Sense and Sensibility, but there are the 3 sisters in this family. Eleanor Dashwood, the oldest sister, really reminds me of my mom. Eleanor is very compassionate and caring, but she doesn't show her emotions as much as some of the other characters. And she also really wants to always do the right thing. She puts others before herself. She comes across more shy and quiet and serious, but that's not all that there is to her. And Eleanor also seems to be the one that kind of keeps everything together in the family financially, and figuring out where they're going to go and how to live in their new circumstances. So Eleanor really reminds me of my mom. They share so many of the same personality traits. And so from the very first time I saw her in an adaptation to when I first read her in the book, she always reminded me of my mom. Number 6 is a book that has something in it that my mom loves or that she loves to do. I chose the Christian Heroes book about Eric Liddell, Something Greater Than Gold. It tells the story of the Olympic runner and how he ends up in the prisoner camp during World War II. The reason this fits that prompt is that he was a runner for the Olympics, and my mom loves to run. She's ran a lot of marathons. She still runs almost every single day, and most people that know my mom, when they think of her, that's what they would think of is a runner. Number 7 is a book that you have enjoyed together. I chose The Guernsey Literary and Potato Pill Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaffer and Annie Barrows, because the first time I read this was with the older book club, and this quickly became one of my favorite books, but also one of my mom's favorite books. And then the other reason this really reminds me of her is because there is a movie made of this book. You cannot buy it on DVD, but it is on Netflix. And so since she can't own it herself, and my mom and dad don't have streaming on their TV at home, whenever we get together for her birthday, we almost always watch the adaptation for this. And it's so funny. We never get sick of it because it's such a good adaptation of it. So Guernsey definitely is something that I share with my mom. Number 8 is a book that you would recommend to them or have recommended to them. And for this, I chose Truth Changes Everything by Dr. Jeff Myers, because we both got a copy of this book at the homeschool convention we went to together last summer. Jeff Myers was giving a certain amount of them away free, and we both were able to get one. And I've already read it once, but we are also reading this together this year. For our Inklings group, we take turns picking a book every other month, the whole year, and then we are also just reading this book the whole year. So every month we have a certain number of chapters that we get together to talk about. And so that is why I wanted to choose this one, because I chose it for that. Number 9 is a book that they recommended to me or that she chose for me to read. So for this, I chose A Memory of Violets by Hazel Gaynor, because this is the book that we're reading for Inklings in May, and she chose this book. So that is why I chose it for this prompt. And then number 10 is a book with strong motherhood. And this probably is no surprise. I chose Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, because I think Marmee is one of the best fictional / based on a non-fictional person mother out there. I love Marmee, and it's no secret that Little Women is one of my favorite books. And this one in particular I'm showing because this one is the one my mom read to me as a child. Well, she read to me and my siblings. We visited Orchard House together in 2009, and she bought a new copy. And so I asked if I could have this old one that she would read to us when we were little, because it was my introduction to Little Women. So this is a very special book to me, and it also always reminds me of my mom. Number 11 is Tag Some People. I know that Tay originally tagged a lot of people, and I can't remember who has done it and who hasn't, and who was tagged and who wasn't. So I just chose to tag Kelly Reeds and Anne in Search of Wonder. So if you haven't done this yet and you want to, consider yourself tagged. If I haven't tagged you and you want to do this, please consider yourself tagged as well. And Tay, once again, thank you for a really fun tag, and happy Mother's Day.